During Prime Minister's questions, Angela Rayner, as always, get blasted over Labour plans, and also mocked over her inability to answer basic questions. In today's video, as always, we will watch, react, and also go over all of the latest news from up and down the country. But first, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel and join our fast-growing community. So as stated in the intro, during Prime Minister's questions, Angela Rayner, as always, get blasted over Labour plans and also mocked over her inability to answer basic questions. Have a watch.
Well, the Deputy Prime Minister stood on a manifesto promising not to raise taxes on working people. It now appears she can't even define who working people are. So I'll give her another go. There are 5 million small business owners in this country. Are they working people?
Yeah. Deputy Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I don't know how the shadow Deputy Prime Minister can stand there with a straight face when it was the small businesses, the working people of this country that paid the price of them crashing the economy, sending interest rates scoring. I think he needs to learn his own lessons in opposition.
Oliver Downer.
Well, I think the whole House will have heard the Deputy Prime Minister disregard 5 million hard-working small business owners. These are the publicans, the shopkeepers, the family running a local cafe. None of those count as working people to her. Now, Labour gave a clear commitment not to raise national insurance. The independent IFS have given their view on this. They say that raising employer national insurance is a tax on working people. Even the Chancellor said that raising employer national insurance was a jobs tax that will make each new recruit more expensive and increase the cost to business. So does she agree with the IFS and her own Chancellor?
Mr. Speaker, I remember the party opposite, what they said to business. What was it? F to business? Whereas this party held an international investment summit last week, which poured £63 million into our economy. We're pro-business, pro-worker, and getting on with fixing the mess that they left behind.
So I think we can take it from that answer that the Deputy Prime Minister doesn't agree with the IFS, and I suppose it shouldn't come as a surprise that she doesn't agree with her Chancellor. But does she agree with this? And I quote, "Working people will pay when employers pass on the hike in national insurance." Mr. Speaker, these are her words. So does she at least agree with herself?
Mr. Speaker, what I'm incredibly proud of is this week, this government brought in a new employment bill, which will raise the living standards of 10 million workers. Would the shadow Deputy Prime Minister like to apologise for the hiking taxes, 70-year hiking taxes that he put on working people, the crashing of the economy and the disaster that he left behind?
Well, she mentions her policy. Let's be clear, it's a £5 billion hit to the British economy, and that's her own assessment. Mr. Speaker, I think that following these answers, there will be millions of working people now even more worried about the tax rises coming their way in next week's budget.
What are your thoughts on Rayner and her inability to answer questions? Let me know in the comments. In other news, 3 migrants have died, and around 40 others were pulled from the water after their small boat sank in the English Channel. A huge rescue operation was launched early on Wednesday morning, after reports that a migrant boat got into difficulties a couple of miles off the French coast, near Sangatte, in the Pas-de-Calais. Multiple vessels and a rescue helicopter were called to the scene and discovered around 40 migrants in the water. 2 of those rescued from the sea were unconscious, and despite efforts to revive them, they were declared dead by medical teams on shore in Calais. A third body was later recovered by a passing ferry after a body was spotted floating in the water. At least 40 migrants were taken on board one rescue vessel. 8 others were brought to shore by another vessel, where medical teams were waiting to assess their condition. A search is continuing in the area for anyone else who may have ended up in the water. Ferry services in and out of Calais have been suspended while that large-scale search operation continues. The Boulogne-sur-Mer Public Prosecutor's Office has opened an investigation. So far this year, close to 50 deaths have been reported by the French Coast Guard, including a baby who died when a boat got into difficulty last Thursday night. The death toll in the Channel is the highest since the small boats crisis began in 2018. Shortly after the rescue off Sangatte this morning, British and French maritime authorities were called to another boat in difficulties near the midway point in the Channel. A UK Coast Guard helicopter and 2 Border Force vessels attended the scene, alongside their French counterparts. Around 50 migrants were picked up, with no reported injuries. It comes as British Stand can confirm that another 2 small boats made it to UK waters, and around 100 migrants have been taken to the Border Force Processing Centre in Dover. It follows the first arrival of almost 800 migrants in 13 boats last Friday. It takes the total number of small boat migrants to arrive in the UK so far this year to more than 28,450. That figure is just over 1,000 away from passing the number of migrants who crossed in small boats during the whole of last year. The Labour government has promised to smash the gangs and has invested millions in the creation of a new border security command. But there has been no slowdown in the number of migrants making the illegal journey since Sir Keir Starmer's government took office. The number of arrivals is currently 9% higher than the same point last year, when 26,116 crossed from France. Lastly, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are below Prince Andrew on the official royal website, appearing at the bottom of the list. Members of the monarchy are listed on the Roll of the Royal Family webpage, with King Charles at the top. The King is followed by Queen Camilla, Princess Kate and Prince William in 2nd, 3rd and 4th place respectively. Other senior royals featured include the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh, the Princess Royal and the Duke and Duchess of Gloucester. The Duke of Kent and Princess Alexandra also have individual pages dedicated to them. Each royal is given a tab, except Meghan and Harry, who share a tab titled The Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Meghan and Harry are also the only royals to have a biography visible on the homepage, which reads, "As announced in January 2020, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex have stepped back as working members of the royal family." Similarly to the other royals, Prince Andrew, who also stepped back from royal duties, has the following biography. Find out more about the Duke of York. What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comment section below. If you've not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British content. Thank you. Take care. Goodbye.